MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat are all different forms of social media. While one social media fades out of use, another will take its place. Social media is becoming more and more popular. Social media is being used by all ages and races. Social media has changed the way people have identified themselves and how they choose to identify themselves. Social media has allowed people to engage and interact with each other without having to meet with the person personally. Social media has paved a way for people to express their thoughts and feelings. Social media has not been around for long. It is this vast amount of websites and applications that allow us to communicate through sharing of ideas, engaging with one another. It allows for people's opinions and ideas to be displayed throughout. Social media isn't just in the United States, but is being used in the whole world. It is used for many different reasons, and even businesses use social media to sell a product or to make a product popular. Social media is being used to express individuality. Social media has allowed us to express our feelings and ideas without face-to-face interaction. It proves to be useful in a variety of different ways. New technology and research has been able to be created as a result of social media. Ultimately, social media has changed how we like to identify ourselves as a result. This has shattered our identity. Social media has changed the way people identify themselves. Anastasia writes, individuals derive their social identity in part from the social groups to which they belong, and thus are motivated to view these in-groups as more correct. And thus are motivated to view these in-groups as more correct, more appropriate, and better than out-groups. This article can be applied to social media use and about how the things we read online influence our identity. The people we engage with on social media help influence who and what we will become. Social media has changed the way people choose to identify themselves as a whole. The groups that you read about on social media are the groups that you will likely identify yourself in. Online, if you follow a group of people that you like, you will identify as part of a group or as a follower of that group. Social media has caused people to change their identities based on what they read. Anastasia writes, research has shown that opinions are often influenced by other members of the in-group. The people we put in the in-group, we will take the beliefs and idea and create our identity from them. The people that aren't in the in-group will criticize their beliefs and state what they are in contradiction to what they believe. Even if we don't fully believe what the in-group believes, we will take that belief and make it our own to be part of the in-group. Social media has shattered our identities because it allowed us to be less like us and be more like others. Social media has allowed us to connect with other people and share our ideas. Marcus writes, connecting with people and innovative ideas is more important than ever. This article talks about this idea of connectedness. Being connected is more just than having an abundance of social media accounts. It is engaging in deeper and authentic relationships. Being connected has led us to breaking down the hierarchy of needs and allowing to introduce great ideas. Social media allows us to connect with other people from all over. Social media has allowed us to use other people's ideas and create our own from their ideas. Being connected is this idea of engaging with people both online and offline. Being connected has led to learning and sharing from one another. Although it has led to the creation of ideas, it has led to this stealing of other people's ideas and taking them as your own. This allows us to shatter our own identity. This has shattered our identity because we are no longer taking our own ideas and making our own ideas but copying others. Social media has helped us to create our identities but also shattered it in a sense because we often copy what people say or believe. We don't just take what they believe and make our own ideas, but we take what they believe and say this is our own belief or idea, which is plagiarism. Social media has also allowed us to be critics. We can disagree and dislike what they say by commenting or hitting the dislike button. Sometimes our critiques go too far and they become personal. These comments that we say behind our screens we necessarily wouldn't say in person, but since it is on social media, it's not a bad thing. This has shattered our identity being overexpressive and hurting others, and often want to do this in face-to-face interaction. On social media, your personality type affects how much you will post. Korea writes, people with higher levels of extroversion tend to be heavier users of social media. This article shows that people who are more extroverted are more likely to be using social media. People who are more extroverted are more likely to have their identity shattered because they are on social media more than introverted people. These extroverted people take the beliefs of others rather than coming up with their beliefs and ideas. This article also talks about how gender affects what and how much people post. Females would be more expressive and share their thoughts and feelings and post more often, while men would be less open and less expressive and less likely to share their thoughts and feelings. Social media has filled this idea that men aren't supposed to share their thoughts and feelings and be less expressive. Women can be the only ones who can share their feelings. Social media has helped shatter their identities for men because it reinforces this point that men aren't supposed to be expressive. Men can be expressive and share thoughts and feelings, and sharing thoughts and feelings isn't a bad thing. It helps make you identify yourself. Facebook has changed gender roles. Rose writes, prior research suggests the traits active, independent, and dominant are usually more prominent with males, while attractive, dependent, sentimental, sexy, and submissive are generally more often tied to females. Therefore, it was expected that Facebook profile pictures associated with male subjects would rate higher for the trait active as compared to females. This expectation was supported. Images of males often featured subjects in athletic gear playing a sport or in outdoor settings. Perhaps males wear athletic clothes in outdoor setting to express robust health and strength. Perhaps it is a way to guard against appearing passive in me. This shows that the idea of attractiveness has affected how we want to show ourselves off for public display. Against ourselves to fulfill this idea of attractiveness. Doing this shatters our identities because we are no longer staying true to ourselves. Instead, we are putting on this false image for others to look at and believe as our true selves. Facebook has changed the role of genders because each has to represent something that maybe we aren't. For men, we have to be dependent and dominant. For females, we have to be attractive, dependent, sentimental, sexy, and submissive. These traits could apply to either male or female, but Facebook has changed how each gender is supposed to come off as. The traits that we perceive on our accounts maybe aren't who we identify as, and we are sharing our own identities. Social media has changed the way people think and how they identify themselves. For some cases, it has created a false identity for some people because it's oftentimes thought as wrong to fully identify yourself for who you are. It has reinforced this idea that men aren't to be expressive and are supposed to keep their feelings to themselves. Social media has changed how we perceive our gender roles on Facebook. Each gender has to display a different trait to fulfill this idea of attractiveness. Social media has made us want to be a part of the in-group and display less of ourselves and be more like the in-group. Social media has allowed us to steal other people's beliefs and ideas and make them as our own. Social media has helped shadow our identities and make us more like other people and less like ourselves.